Welcome back to Study Sprint. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at ordering or comparing fractions with different denominators. So to order compare fractions, you have to follow two steps. The first one is to make the denominators same. And to make the denominators same, you find the LCM of the denominators of the given fractions. And then you rewrite each fraction as an equivalent fraction with this LCM as its denominator. Step 2 is to now use the numerators to put them in order. Okay, so now let's take a look at an example question. So for example, the question is that put the given set of fraction in order from smallest to largest. And over here we have two fractions. One of them is 5 over 8 and the second one is 3 over 4. Now, you can see that the fractions do not have the same denominator. So before we can order the fractions, we have to make sure that the denominators of both the fractions are same. And to do that, we have to find the LCM of both the denominators. So to find the LCM, we are going to list down the multiples of both the numbers. So the multiples of 8 are 8, 16, 24, and so on. The multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, and so on. Now remember that multiples are only the times table for that number. Now because we're finding the LCM, we are looking for the least or the lowest common multiple. And the lowest common multiple is the smallest number that is common in both the numbers. So we can see that 8 is common in both the numbers. So that means our LCM is 8. Now after we have figured out LCM, we have to see that whether the denominator of both our fractions is equal to our LCM. So you can see that this denominator is 8. So this is equal to our LCM. However, this 4 is obviously not equal to 8. So what we have to do now is that we have to convert this 4 into 8. And to do that, we have to multiply 4 by 2 because we know that 4 times 2 will give us 8. So now you can see that 3 over 4 has been converted into 6 over 8 because 4 times 2 is 8. And what we do to the denominator, we have to do it to the numerator. So I multiply the numerator 3 by 2 to give me 6. So now you can see that these fractions have the same denominator. Now we can easily see which fraction is bigger. So 5 over 8 is smaller than 6 over 8 because we look at the numerator now. One of the numerators is 5 and the second one is 6. Which one is smaller? And we know that 5 is smaller than 6. So that means the fraction 5 over 8 is smaller than 6 over 8. This sign over here is used to show whether the number is smaller or bigger. Remember that the side that is closed, so this side over here shows the smaller number and then the open side shows the number which is bigger. Okay, so now let's do a few practice questions. Our first one is, what is the lowest common multiple of the denominators of the given fractions? And the fractions are 2 over 3 and 3 over 4. To find the lowest common multiple, or the LCM, we have to first write down the multiples of both the denominators. So the multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, and so on. The multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, and so on. Now, because we are finding the lowest common multiple, so the LCM, we're going to find the smallest number which is common in both the numbers. And you can see that 12 is the smallest number which is common in both 3 and 4. So our LCM is 12. And now we need to figure out that which fraction is this larger fraction. Is it 3 over 4 or is it 2 over 3? To do that, what we're going to do is, we know that LCM is 12, so that means that we have to get the denominator of both our fractions to 12. So 4 is not equal to 12, nor is 3. So you have to multiply 4 by 3 to give us 12. And because we're multiplying the denominator, we have to multiply the numerator by the same number. And 3 times 3 gives us 9. And 2 over 3, so 3 times 4 gives us 12. And I'm going to do the same to the numerator, so 2 times 4 gives us 8. So my new fractions are 8 over 12 and 9 over 12. Now to determine which one is larger, I have to look at the numerators. One has a numerator 9 and one has a numerator 8. And we all know that 8 is smaller than 9. So that means that my larger fraction is 9 over 12. Now, you know that 9 over 12 is not the simplest form of this fraction. It can be simplified further. So for the answer, I'm going to write my simplified form of 9 over 12, which is 3 over 4. Because remember that we converted 3 over 4 into 9 over 12 because we had to compare the two fractions and we had to make the denominator same. So as an answer, my larger fraction is going to be 3 over 4. Now our practice question says that put the fractions 1 over 7, 4 over 21 and 5 over 14 in order and say which is the largest. So now again you can see that my denominators of all the three of the fractions are different. And my first step is to make the denominators same. To do that, I'm going to find the LCM of my denominators. And to find the LCM, I have to write all the multiples of all the numbers. So the multiples of 7 are 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, and 70. Now the multiples of 21. The multiples of 21 are 21, 42, 63, and so on. The multiples of 14. The multiples of 14 are 14, 28, 42, 56, and so on. Which of my numbers are common in all the three? Which number is common in all the three numbers? So I can see that 42 over here, 42 here, and 42 here. So 42 is my smallest common number, which is common in all the three numbers, 7, 21, and 14. So that means that my LCM for 7, 21, and 14 is 42. Now our next step is to write these fractions with this denominator. So I'm going to put 3 fraction lines and I'm going to put the denominator 42 in all of them. So we know that 7 6 are 42, so I'm going to multiply my numerator with 6, so 1 times 6 is 6. 21 2s are 42, so I'm going to multiply my numerator with 2, so 4 2s are 8. 14 3s are 42, so I'm going to multiply my numerator 5 by 3, which is 15. So now my fractions are 6 over 42, 8 over 42, and 15 over 42. Now I can determine which one is the largest in order from smallest to the largest. And I can see that my numerator is 6, 8, and 15. And my question says in order and say which is the largest. So now I put these fractions in order from the smallest to the largest, 6, 8, 15. And my largest, to tell which one is largest, I'm going to find my largest numerator. And 15 is my largest numerator. So that means that my largest fraction is 5 over 14 because we converted 5 over 14 into 15 over 42 because we had to compare all of these fractions together. Okay, so now my next question says to put the fractions 3 over 15, 7 over 27, and 12 over 45 from the smallest to the largest. So again, I cannot determine which one is smaller, which one is larger until I get the denominators of all my fractions same. So to do that, I'm going to find the LCM of all my denominators. And to find the LCM, I will have to first write the multiples of all my denominators. So the multiples of 15 are 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, 105, 120, and 135, and so on. Next, my multiples of 27. 27, 54, 81, 108, and 135. My last term is 45, denominator is 45. So 45 is equals to 45, 90, and 135. Okay, so now after I've written down all my multiples of all the three denominators, I'm going to figure out my LCM. So my LCM is the lowest common multiple. So up till now, the common number is 135. So 135 is over here, and over here. And there's no other common multiples before 135, which is common in all three of the numbers. So that means that my lowest common multiple is 135. After figuring out my lowest common multiple, I'm going to write this as a denominator of all the fractions. So I'm going to make 3 fraction lines, and I'm going to write 135 in the denominator of each. Now for the numerator, I have to multiply the numerator by the same number that I multiplied the denominator to get 135. So for the first fraction, 3 over 15, I multiplied the denominator 15 by 9 to give me 135. So I'm going to multiply my numerator 3 by 9 to give me the numerator of this fraction. So 9 times 3 is 27. So my numerator for this fraction is 27 over 135. I'm going to do the same with my second and third fractions. So I multiply 27 by 5 to give me 135. So I'm going to multiply the numerator 7 by 5 to give me this numerator. 5 times 7 is 35. So this fraction is 35 over 135. Now 12, I multiplied 45 by 3 to give me 135, so I'm going to multiply 12 by 3 to give me 36. Now after I have made all my new denominators the same, and I've multiplied my numerators with the same numbers that I multiplied my denominators with to make all of them equal, I'm going to look at the question again. So it says, put the fraction and these 3 fractions from smallest to largest. So right now you can see that all of these fractions are arranged from the smallest fraction to the largest fraction, because we look at the numerators to arrange the fractions, and this 27 is the smallest, then 35, and then 36. But remember that this is not my original fraction. I have to arrange my original fraction from the smallest to the largest. So now my smallest fraction is 27 over 135, so that means that my answer of my first fraction, my smallest fraction, is going to be 3 over 15. So I have 3 over 15. Then 35 over 135 is equivalent to 7 over 27, because we multiplied both the numerator and denominator by the same number to get 35 over 135. And then 36 over 135 is equivalent to 12 over 45. So now I've arranged all my fractions from the smallest to the largest. Thanks for watching. I hoped that you liked my video and it helped you. If it did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe it.